These are the manifold gauges that you can purchase at Harbor Freight, and they got three hoses coming out. You got your blue, which is your low side, and your blue gauge, which will give you low side pressure, and it'll also read vacuum there. And then you got your yellow hose, which you use for, that's what you connect to your vacuum pump or your cans of refrigerant to refill the system. Then your red is your high side. And right here is a set of adapters that you can pick up at Walmart, or they come in a kit like the kit to retrofit or whatever. And then this thing right here is what you hook up to your can that they sell at the parts store. This yellow hose here, when you connect your blue to your low side, which on my Jaguar, these fittings didn't fit upright, so I had a high side fitting that fit on my low side, and my low side one fit on the high side. So what you can do is you can just swap these out. They just screw right off of here, and you can switch them around and put the red on the blue side. But make sure that you can put this one on the red hose, then the red one on the blue one, and as long as you got the high and low side correct on the gauges, you'll be okay there. And these valves here, if you open this up, this will allow anything in this hose or on the low side to go into here. So if you open that up when you're filling it, you have this connected and you have a can on here. Then when you open this valve up, that'll allow the refrigerant to go back into the low side and fill it up. And if you take this yellow hose here and open these valves up with it just out, it'll relieve all the pressure off of the system. So if you stick it down inside of a bottle or something, it'll catch all the oil. The refrigerant will evaporate into the air, which is probably illegal, and I wouldn't say that you should do that because that's wrong. But if you did that, that's how it would keep the oil from getting all over the floor and spraying everywhere, but it'll let the refrigerant out, then you'll have an empty system. Right here is the inside of my vacuum pump. I took it apart because I was using it for something else, but you hook that up to your yellow hose there, and then plug this into your compressed air line, and it'll draw down a vacuum. You open the valves up on the gauges, and it'll pull all the air out of the system. Then you close these valves back up, and then unhook your vacuum pump from your air with the valves both closed, and it'll hold a vacuum on there, and you can look on the gauge, and it'll read to about 30 on the vacuum, and you leave it sit like that, and that'll tell you if you have any leaks in your system. But you can swap these around if you have to, but you got to make sure that you're real careful to get the high side and the low side correct if your fittings don't line up right. But I hope that explains the gauges. I'll put a link down below where you can get the gauges at, and any Harbor Freight store usually sells them for I think 40 bucks. I've had these for probably 4 or 5 years now, and I use them maybe once a month, and they're not real good gauges, but they work for occasional use. I hope that'll help you out.